Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and today I'm giving y'all an update on the financial goals that I set for 2023 and whether or not I achieved them. I usually film this update in January of the following year, so I wait until the whole year has finished before I give an update on the goals that I set. But this year I decided to film in December and upload this video in December just because I have a pretty good idea of where I stand in regard to my goals. I will link my original goals video down in the description box, and then I'm going to go in the same order as that video for these updates. Goal number 1 was to be completely debt-free, and that one gets a huge green check. This is a goal that I was setting a couple of years in a row. I was definitely overly ambitious back in, I think it was, 2021 and 2022, thinking that it would be possible to pay off my debt. It didn't happen. I had this goal in mind from the beginning. I really wanted to pay off all of my debt, my $82,000 plus of total debt within 4 years, but it actually took me a little bit longer than that, about 5 years. And 2023 was the year for that. I have a lot of videos documenting my debt-free journey. I can post a few of them down in the description box, but I did start with student loan debt. That was the bulk of it. I also had my car loan, I had credit card debt, and then I owed money to my sister. And one that I always forget is I paid off another car too. It wasn't my car. It was a car that I co-signed on. It was, I talk about this fairly frequently, but one of my biggest mistakes was co-signing on a car. And I ended up paying that car off too, just so I could, even though I'd never drove it a day in my life, I just wanted it out of my life. But in the last 2-3 years or so of my debt-free journey, I had paid off I paid off my car, paid off my credit cards, all of that stuff. And then all that was left was my student loan debt. And then soon the pandemic came around, so we did not have to make payments. There was no interest accruing on those debts, so I started saving. So instead of paying down my student loans, I was actually saving all of that cash in my high-yield savings account. And this helped me tremendously. I did gain several $100s in interest by doing this, and overall I probably would have been better off investing this money, saving this money, just keeping it in my high yield savings account even once the student loan debt resumed back in October. But I had enough money saved for my debt by March of 2023. I kept that in my savings account, and then come October when payments resumed, I just put the whole $36K to my student loan debt because that's all I had left, $36K even, dropped it all in one lump sum. It did hurt a little bit just because it took so long to save that, but truly one of my greatest accomplishments in my life, and I am so grateful to be debt-free at this point and to have this goal knocked off. This will not be a goal of mine again. I definitely plan on not going into debt aside from a mortgage far into the future, but yeah, I am all for the debt-free lifestyle. It's been great. Goal number 2 was to complete another low spend year. I did my first low spend year in 2020. That one was very successful. I have quite a few videos talking about a low spend year or no spend year, but let me just say that when you do a low spend year, you can still buy things. Of course you have to pay for the things you need to, like your groceries, your rent or mortgage, your utility bills, all that stuff. So it's just completely impossible to have a no spend year unless you're relying on somebody else's income. But you're also allowed to make your own rules when it comes to a low spend year. So if you want to pay for travel, you can do that. If you want to make room for purchasing certain things, you can do that. As long as you are improving your spending in some sort of way, then you can definitely count that as a low spend year. For me, I came into 2023 saying that I did not want to buy any books, I did not want to buy any clothes, shoes, basically anything that was unnecessary in my life, and especially things that added items into my home. I'm going to say that this one gets a check, a green check, maybe like a yellow-green check, because I did do a bit of spending in November and this month in December. But if we compare my spending for all of 2023 versus years that I'm not doing a low spend year, there's a significant improvement. So I would say it's still a low spend year for sure, but I did break some rules. I bought some clothes, I bought some books. Those were in my rules not to buy them, but I still bought them. I don't have any regrets. I don't feel guilty about it. I'm in a pretty good place when it comes to my finances and even my financial mindset. So yeah, I was okay with making those purchases. And overall, I'm just really proud of myself for doing a low spend year, a second year, like 2 years I've done that in my life. It's a pretty cool accomplishment to me. It's definitely shaped my financial habits too. Like I feel like before I make a purchase, I really think about it, or I've really prioritized what makes me happy. What if I want to purchase said item, will it add value to my life? And sometimes it doesn't. Purchasing an article of clothing may not have this tremendous value to my life, but I am okay with purchasing those things, or I can recognize like, hey, I've bought something like that before and I didn't really like it, so I'm not going to make that same mistake again, So it's really shaped my financial situation as a whole, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, that one gets like a moderate check. Goal number 3 was to max out my Roth IRA, and I did achieve this. The first time I ever maxed out my Roth IRA was in 2022, and I actually finished maxing out my 2022 Roth IRA in January of this year, which is just crazy to think about, because then I maxed out my 2023 Roth IRA, the $6,500 maximum contribution, by June. So within a few months, I was able to do that. So I'm glad I was able to do that for a second time. And then hopefully moving forward, I'll be able to max out my Roth IRA every single year that I can. By the way, my Roth IRA is with Vanguard, and it's all invested in VTSAX, which is their total stock market fund. Not investing advice, just sharing what I'm invested in. Next goal was to reach a net worth of $100,000 or more. I will not be achieving this goal. Obviously, we're not at the end of the year yet. There's still several days to go, but just looking at where things stand currently, I know that I won't be investing a huge amount. I am investing more right now, but I'm not going to be able to invest enough to get to 100K. I'm not going to be able to save enough to get to 100K. So I'm pretty sure that I will not reach this number in 2023 unless something crazy happens. I'm probably going to get closer to 85,000 or so, which is pretty good. Because if you look at what I started the year at compared to now, which I will talk about in a different video, I'll do my full 2023 financial review and go over all the specific numbers. But it's pretty crazy how much my net worth has grown in just less than 12 months. I really did want to reach 100K, but I knew that this was going to be a stretch goal for me. And 85K or close to 85K is still really good. And I know that probably in Q1 of 2024, I'm going to reach that 100K net worth goal. And then y'all know that for 2024, my goal is 150K or more for my net worth. So we will wait and see on that one. My next goal was to get a promotion at my job, and I did get a promotion. After Q1, I did get promoted to the role above my previous role, and I'm still at that company. I'll give a little rundown of my career. I know many of y'all have heard this a lot, but in case this is the first video you're watching of mine, I went to school for biology, my bachelor's degree, and my master's. I was actually a microbiologist for 4 years, but I decided I wanted to shift industries, so I wanted to go into tech. And for me, that was learning Salesforce. I first heard about Salesforce through the Choose FI podcast, specifically a program called Talent Stacker. And I have my referral link down below. I'm always going to plug that because that's really what helped me to get into this career. But I started learning about Salesforce in 2021. It took me about a year. The whole thing altogether took me about a year, but I got certified. I was practicing, I was learning, I was applying, interviewing. It was very stressful overall, but then I did land my first Salesforce consulting job in March of 2022. With consulting specifically, you learn a lot of things in a short time span, and also I owe a lot of my knowledge to my team. I learned so much about Salesforce and consulting through my team members. And because of that, I was going not really above and beyond at my job, but I was doing more than what my role responsibilities were, and also just trying to prove myself in this new ecosystem. This is my first Salesforce job, first consulting job. So a year into my job, we did have performance evaluations. We actually have them every quarter. It's quite annoying. It's too frequent in my opinion. But I did ask for a promotion, and I got it. So that came with a 12% pay increase, which sounds like a lot, but it's really nothing crazy. So when I started my job, I was making $60,000 even. About 7 months in, I asked for a raise, and that was a 5% raise, so it went up to $63,000. And then I got the 12% pay bump, which brought me to like 70,700 something. So I am very glad that I got the promotion. I'm proud of that. I do feel like I am a bit underpaid for my role. I think it's just a company thing. I work for a pretty small company. Just compared to other Salesforce consultants and even Salesforce admins, I know that they're likely making more than I am. But yeah, for now we're just chilling here. I am still at the same company, still at the same role. I don't think I'm not like pushing for a promotion come year 2 at this job or anything. So I'm content staying at my current role, and we'll see what my next performance evaluation brings. Next goal was to make $100,000 or more in gross income, and I have already achieved this. I actually hit 100K by October, and this is the first time I've ever made 6 figures in a year in my life. And honestly, it has been life-changing. And I'm going to make a separate video on this because like I just was talking about, my pay is only $70,000. And I know that that's a lot more compared to other people. And even if we just look at the median salary in America or Georgia, whatever you want to compare it to. But I'm going to make a video on this because making 100K, really, I was able to get to that point because of my business, my side hustles and creating content. And honestly, really the only reason that I was able to hit a lot of my goals was because of that. Like if I was only making what I earned for my full-time job, I would not be checking off all of these boxes. Like this all came from me basically having a second job. So making over 100K has been, I would say, almost like life-changing for me. And it's something that I would love to continue moving forward. But if I take my business full time for at least the first couple of years, I don't expect to make over 6 figures. But I'm grateful that I've been able to do this right now. So for 2023, making this much from my full-time job and from my business, it allowed me to pay off my debt. It allowed me to save. It allowed me to invest so much more so that by the time I take my business full time, I am more financially secure. I don't have debts to worry about. I don't have to be stressed about not having cash saved up in an emergency fund if I need to reach into that. So it's definitely been really, really helpful. And I think the thing too is it's made me feel like money is easy. Like everything just is so much easier to accomplish because I have a higher income. But at the end of the day, this difference really came from me having these side hustles. But yeah, I'll talk more about that in a different video. Probably will be in January or February. But this year, my income altogether is probably going to be like $125,000 gross, which is definitely much more than I've ever made in a year in my life. So very exciting. Next goal, speaking of income, I wanted to make $30,000 or more gross from my business. And I did achieve this. I was able to hit 30K by September, and I'm probably going to end the year making about 44,000 or so, a little bit more than 44,000, which is crazy. And now when I had actually plugged in some final numbers just today and I saw this 44,000 and I realized that I set a goal of 50,000 for 2024. So I'm like, should I change that? Because I'm going to keep it at 50K just because there's like a number of factors that really helped me in 2023 that I don't know will still be around for 2024. But that's a lot of money. 44,000 from side hustles, The highest amount I ever earned from my businesses before was 2022, and I think that was like $23,000. So I have just about doubled what I earned. It would be great if I can double my business income going into 2024, but it's just hard to predict. Overall, it's just like there's so many things that could happen, and there's really just no control over these things either. Like a lot of my income comes from YouTube ad revenue, and it depends on what displays on my videos and at what times, Same with my blog and coaching, like everything is just kind of up in the air, and there's no easy way to predict things. I can try my best to continue what I've been doing and hopefully improve things, but yeah, even still, there's just no way to control what's coming in. I will be making a separate video on my sources of income, like how much I earned from each thing, because it does come from a number of things for my business specifically. So I'll get that video up in 2024. Then the final goal that I set for 2023 was to reach $12,000 in my emergency fund, and I also achieved this one. I did watch back my money goals video, and I had said that this was like low priority. I'm not going to be too concerned about it. If I don't hit this goal, then that's fine. But I achieved this pretty quickly. I had reached a $12,000 emergency fund by July. And again, that's really because I made over 6 figures and I was easily able to check off a lot of these goals. But yeah, looking back at that video is just interesting to see my thought process on this. I did reach the 12,000 in July. I've just let it stay at 12,000, and then the interest is accruing in my high yield savings account. At this point, it's been growing by like $50 plus per month. And then in 2024, I will keep adding to it. I have a separate goal for 2024. But yeah, pretty happy that I was able to reach that this year, and also that I didn't have to pull from it in the year. Very grateful to say that no like major emergencies came up. And if anything did come up, like any unexpected expenses, I was able to either pull from other sinking funds that were more aligned with whatever came up, or I was able to cash flow them, which is incredible. So those were my 8 financial goals for the year, and I achieved all of them except for one, I would say. That's very exciting for me. Y'all know how much I love goals and financial goals in particular, and I'm truly so grateful that I've gotten to this point, like it's been a long journey. And I know it's going to be a long journey ahead, but truly thank you to y'all for being here, watching this video, watching all of my videos, because that has allowed me to reach a lot of these goals. I know I say it in quite a few videos, but I just want y'all to know that I really appreciate y'all, because it's just cool. It's just cool that there's a community out there who wants to watch me pay down my debt and save and just talk about my finances, so thank you so much. If you haven't checked in on your goals, definitely make sure to do so and comment down below the goals that you accomplished for 2023. And keep in mind that even if you didn't hit any of them, or you didn't do as well as you hoped to, that you probably made a lot of progress. So make sure you look at your progress too. Even if you paid down $5,000 of debt instead of the $15,000 that you were aiming for, that is still a huge accomplishment, and you should be proud of yourself and make sure you recognize those accomplishments. So feel free to comment those down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.